That motherfucker hits so hard. And I was always wondering, like, how is his power with the big gloves on? Well, we fucking know.
Yeah.
Look, he fucking dropped one of the greatest heavyweights, if not the greatest besides him, of all time. Amazing. Yeah. And I think he might be able to beat them all. I think he's that good. I think he's that much of a freak. He won.
If you love Anthony Joshua, you best say your final goodbyes because Ngannou is coming to kill that man in March. If anyone is silly enough to bet on Anthony Joshua, get in touch with me. I will take your money. We're going to look at some clips and some interviews from people around the internet.
That guy, he made his way from Cameroon to Morocco and 7 times got arrested and sent back to the fucking Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
And finally made it across to Europe on a raft, was in prison for months, and then lived as a homeless person in a fucking parking garage in France.
This guy had to swallow his money so that police could not take it from him along the way, just to give you a taste of this story. There's a lot of things to really enjoy about Francis Ngannou. Obviously his power, his knockouts, but where he has come from and what he has overcome, I'm sure many of you may not be familiar, but to really get the full thing, I would recommend watching the Joe Rogan podcast and listen to Francis tell this story himself. It is a movie. It is truly unbelievable. To think of the mental fortitude it would take for someone to survive a journey like this and then to become the heavyweight champion of the UFC and compete with the top best boxer, the 6'9" phenom, Tyson Fury, the greatest to ever live at heavyweight.
Look on Tyson Fury's eyes when he went down in the 3rd round from that left hook. He was like, oh, Jesus. You see the look in Tyson Fury's eyes where he's like, Jesus. Yeah. That power is fucking extraordinary.
So most people would say, yes, no, Ngannou's impressive, he hits hard, but Anthony Joshua is a classically trained boxer, an Olympic medalist who has much more experience. How could Ngannou possibly beat him? And I hear you. But Anthony Joshua, he does not have the mental fortitude. He has no chin. Ngannou's too much. He's going to be too much. He was competitive with Fury, and Joshua is nowhere near the boxer that Fury is. And frankly, I just think he has a weak mentality, so he will crumble. And mark my words, there will be excuses from him and Eddie Hearn. Let's check a couple clips out and look at AJ's chin.
And he's going for it. Oh, he's got him. Here he is. Joshua.
So definitely no disrespect to Andy Ruiz, but he could not stand in the shadow of Francis Ngannou. And if Andy Ruiz could wobble and drop Joshua, then there is no question that even with a glancing blow, Ngannou will put Joshua to sleep. And frankly, I think he'll make him quit. You can tell even by how Joshua can really not defend against Andy Ruiz as he's pressuring him on the ropes here. And Ngannou is going to bully this man. Okay, next let's look at how these gentlemen hit a power punching machine. I know what you're thinking. Oh, Anthony Joshua hits so hard. He's a pro. Yeah, Ngannou's strong, but we have science to back this up. Check it out.
Champion.
Guys, I've seen 150-pound UFC fighters like Conor McGregor smack this machine and get 800-something points. So, all right, now I'm going to show you what it looks like when a man smacks a machine like this.
So amazing results today. Francis demonstrated a punching power just over 129,000 units.
Keep in mind, 129,000 units translates to a Ford Escort traveling at full speed hitting a person. Or a sledgehammer swung from overhead.
That's higher than the previous record of 114,000 demonstrated by kickboxer Tyrone Spong.
He also hit this thing 10% harder than the next closest person who is a kickboxing champion. Just try and sit on that. That's what she said. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Well, yes, but he's just standing there hitting a punching machine. He isn't going to be able to line Joshua up like this. Well, that's why we have another punch for you. Check this out.
Off balance uppercut, still generating 122,000 units, so really close to that overhand right.
So think about this. His uppercut off balance is almost as strong as his straight right hand, the strongest punch in the game. And Joshua has no chin. Okay, so with that, let's just check a couple live action shots of Francis getting some work done in the octagon. I know it's not boxing, the rules are slightly different, but all I want you guys to look at here is the power. And just think about if he connects with Joshua, and we've already seen him compete with Tyson. And this first one is my favorite. It's a glancing blow. Look at his body position. Look how he swings. This is not the best. And he lifts this 200-something pound man off of his feet.
Factory in Paris as they bring in guys.
Ngannou knocks Arlovsky down.
And not that it would ever happen in a boxing match, but I included the part that hits after the bell so we could all see him get beat down. It's hellacious. Okay, and this next knockout is probably the most iconic one in UFC history. Look at the way that Alistair Overeem's head gets crushed back. I'm surprised his head stayed connected to his neck. And then also look at the curling of his toes. This man is stiff as a board.
Mick Maynard's phone to try to get a matchup with Ngannou. Down goes the Reem.
Legend is that this man is still sleeping in the octagon where Francis left him.
Not load up and leave these big openings.
Stipe back to his feet. Eats his uppercut. Nice counter.
Okay, this last one here, Stipe is obviously not a professional boxer. I take that back, he might be, have had a couple professionals, but he took a few years off to study boxing specifically and really is known to have great boxing, at least as far as the MMA goes. You can hear it when the way the punch sounds when it lands. You can just tell this man hits different.
If I was Ngannou, I would tell him, you're going to make so much money in boxing. Yeah.
Another thing to keep in mind, while Joshua has decades, or definitely a professional decade of fight experience and more professional boxing experience behind that, his chin has been hit and there's mileage on that face. So let's watch him get cleaned up by a German from 10 years ago.
In that one again.
I know how to read people and I am never wrong. The last thing I like to pick at for Anthony Joshua is his weak mentality. He made nothing but excuses after Usyk beat him. He couldn't believe it. He started saying things like, I have character, I have this and that. Like, bro, what are you talking about? This is a boxing match.
Why? You're not strong. How did you beat me? I'm not sure his team understood it.
Let's do the skill. Let's do the I have character. Let's do determination. Listen.
I also feel like Usyk has more character than he does. And so it was funny for Joshua to say, I have the character. And then, of course, this man with character doesn't even listen to the actual champ who just whooped his ass.
Well, I'm upset, really, like deep down in my heart. Oh, man. Oh.
All right, so I have mixed feeling on Joshua crying here. What do you guys think? Definitely shows some weakness. I know it's because he cares, but come on, bro. You got to handle your emotions.
This is someone that I want my kids to look up to. But at the end of the day, you've had to step up to carry the sport in our country. It's true. You know,
man, Eddie Hearn does such a good job at being his daddy. He really, he really talks to him and gives him the speech that he needs to hear. He's always there for him. I appreciate it as a promoter, but I think he also gets him in trouble. I mean, this is the guy who says he's going to roll over Andy Ruiz. He gets his ass whooped. And there's been a number of other times where he comes up short, and he always, before the fight, no one is more confident than Eddie Hearn and his man, Anthony Joshua. And then, oh my God, what happened afterwards? He has all the excuses built in. So it's really hypocritical and kind of, when Eddie says, you have carried the sport in our country, it's true. AJ looks confused, and even the guy over his shoulder is just kind of like, not sure why he's clapping. It's kind of funny. Take a peek. I've also seen from other interviews, Anthony Joshua comments on how he cracks his knuckles as like a nervous tick. And I've noticed in his press conferences and other points, he's always working his hands, and you can tell he is wrestling with a lot of emotions.
You fought the pound for pound, back to back, right? At Tottenham, you lost. Tonight, you lost a split decision to the best fighter in the sport. Everybody else would have vacated the WBO belt before the Tottenham fight.
Collected. What a load of trash right at the end. Everyone else except you, Anthony Joshua, would have just said, Usyk, I'm afraid. Here, take the belt. I'll drop it at your feet. Like, this is ridiculous. But it's funny because I bet Anthony Joshua believes it. Thank you guys so much for hanging in this long. If you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe so you can get more videos like this from me. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.